All right, so what we got here is a chunk of Bradford pear. It's super green. Cut it down last week, and it's firewood size. It's 4-inch diameter. This is actually the trunk of the tree, and what we're going to make is a Christmas tree. This is just a fun little spindle project. It's the time of the year where we want to get some festive stuff out before winter sets in. You know, it's fall. You can start making these and give them out as gifts to friends and family, or you can even try selling them at the craft show for a few bucks. But they're fun to make and relatively easy, and there's so many different ways you can go at it. I want to just show you one today. I've got my rough and gouge going on. It's D-Way Tools. I can't remember the exact size, but it's their largest rough and gouge that they make, and it's in a really tiny handle, their little 8-inch handle. But it's I'm just, you know, getting it round, getting it true, getting most of the bark off. I'm leaving a little chunk down at the bottom of live edge bark, so it'll have a, you know, a live edge base, and I'm just kind of tapering it down, you know, getting a cone shape for the tree. And these are just real rough cuts, man. I'm just trying to hog this thing out fast and get, you know, the shape blocked in, basically a cone. I'm not worried about how it looks and you know, proper technique and all this. I'm just hogging material and going with it. It's kind of a trip though, because you know, normally you use really dry wood when you're spindle turning, and this stuff is sopping wet, so it's not how it normally feels. It's coming off in kind of ribbons and strands instead of chunks and chips. It's kind of nice. Well, you know, as far as bowl turning is concerned, I love turning green wood, so it's kind of fun to do the green wood on spindle turning too. I'm enjoying this little Christmas tree. I forgot to record the couple of other trees that I did earlier today, and the way I roughed them down was just with my big skew, also, you know, a D-Way tool skew. It's a big one. So there I got the cone basically shaped in, and now I want to make the tree trunk, you know. So I'm just kind of making a cove with my spindle gouge. It's a 1/2-inch spindle gouge, and I'm just kind of rolling a cove at the base of the tree, and just kind of setting it in and removing material and just kind of, you know, eyeballing it as I go. I don't block things in. I don't, you know, take measurements. I just kind of eyeball it and just have fun with it. Just, you know, this is a carefree turning. It's a piece of firewood, you know. Just have fun with it. Just go to town. Just, you know, this for me is the best way, or the most fun way to get familiar with the tools. I'm not worried about it. You know, if this breaks or I get a nasty catch or whatever, oh well, it's a piece of firewood. It didn't cost me nothing. It's not a precious, you know, piece of wood or a exotic blank or anything like that. It's firewood. This Bradford pear though, it's really nice, man. It turns nice. It's kind of boring, plain white wood, but it cuts good and it smells good. It kind of has the faint scent of pear. When I cut the tree down, it was covered in tiny little pears about the size of cherries, you know, but they look kind of like an Asian pear, you know, the brown with the little white dots on it. Kind of cool. It was the first time I cut down a Bradford pear. And it was a young tree. It was a shame, but, you know, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's a shame or not. From what I understand, the Bradfords are an invasive species and are kind of chewing they do what they do, you know. They just kind of take over and starve out the domestic species. So, I don't know. I see a lot of posts on guys in Facebook groups that say when you see them, cut them down. But around here in Michigan, tons of people have them as yard trees in their yards because they have nice blossoms, nice looking blossoms, but they don't smell very good. I've used it for barbecuing and smoking meat in my smoker. So I don't know. It seems to work really good on the lathe, though. I'm kind of, I'm not going to say I was sad to see the tree go because I took it home, and I'm probably going to get a dozen Christmas trees and snowmen out of it. And so what I'm doing now is, these your little live center in your is gonna, at least, well, yeah, all the ones, even with the flat cups like these, they've still got a little spear point in there, and it sticks in a good 1/4 inch or whatever. So this is just, I'm making room so I don't make contact with the centering spike on the inside. And so now I've got the great idea that I want to try and roll beads like how Richard Raffin kind of does on the outside of his bowls. So I'm going to give it a shot. Because like I said, I figured, oh well, if I mess it up, it's just a piece of firewood. So I've always wanted to try to do it the way he does it, and I do okay. It's kind of fun. I notice I'm still got my baseball grip. Maybe I should have used my fingertips or whatever and tried to finesse it a little bit more. It's kind of hard to see the movement, but I'm kind of, raising and lowering the handle as I'm opening and closing the flute. And I'm just kind of doing a bead one way, and then I'll just go down the whole tree like this, and then I'll come back the other way, which doesn't sound right. Like, you're not supposed to cut uphill in spindle turning, but I don't know. It seemed to work okay. You'll see here in a minute. Because like as the way it's going, it's a full bead, but it's only really contoured and shaped right going one way. This was actually a really good idea because the only time I've seen people kind of do this is, Raffin does it a lot. I've seen Tomislav do it a couple of times, and Matt Monaco, but they do it on bowls. And, I don't want to practice doing this on a bowl that's a big hunk of wood, possibly a decently expensive piece of wood. And it takes 20, 30 minutes to get it roughed out into that area where you even want to start working the beads. This took me, 5, 7 minutes to start doing this, putting the beads in. I'd much rather practice this kind of rolling beads like this on this little project. I think I'm going to do more of it tomorrow. It was kind of fun. And y'all can see I need to practice. These beads aren't perfect. They're not symmetrical. They're not evenly spaced. But I'm not going to, stop or do over and take them all away and then start all over because, well, like I said, this is just a little, there's that catch. It's just a easy little gift to give to someone. I'm not even thinking about selling these or anything. It's just, I'll knock a dozen of these out and maybe send them with some tops or some honey dippers and some bowls to me and the wife's family, for the holidays. We'll see how they dry. I don't know. I've never, I turned Bradford Pear. No, this is the first time I've turned Bradford Pear. I've turned a little bit of fruit-bearing pear into 2 tiny little bowls, and they did fine. They didn't really crack or anything on me. But, this has the pith included, and I don't know how well they're going to do. Like I said, they're sopping wet. We'll see. We should know here in a week or two how well they do. But, yeah, I'm going to keep going with them. If they crack, they crack. They just look more natural to me. I know the safety captains are going to get me for that, but you know, I'm just feeling how the beads feel if there was one area that stuck out that needed to be done over. And that's basically, I could feel that catch that I had earlier, so I'm trying to clean that area up. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's totally backwards than what it should be. The bigger beads are at the top and the smaller beads are at the base. Oh well, it's still cool. I think we as turners are more critical of our work than anybody would ever contemplate being critical of. Like, I'm my own worst critic, and I will point out flaws, and my wife will tell me I'm crazy that even after pointing them out, she can't see them. And I'm like, but I know they're there. And she's like, stop. You know, it's just, it's how we are, you know, or at least how I am. I want it to be, you know, if I'm going to put my name on it, I want it to be perfect. Let's put it that way. So right here, I'm wanting to get ready and to part this off. So I'll take the parting tool now. This is a diamond profiled parting tool. And I'm coming over at the base, and I'm kind of, you know, I'm taking about 1.5 widths, and I'm just working it back and forth so it doesn't bind up, create friction or a catch. And you know, I'm tapering inwards so it's concave, because you know this is going to move. It has to move. It's sopping wet. So, you know, just working that groove out. Now I've got that pretty close, and now I want to check it out, look it over, and then part it off at the tip. So, like I said, it's cool. I mean, it's not a traditional Christmas tree, but it still looks good. I think I like it. Now, see, I'm pointing out that crack in the nub. It's already there. And, well, let's see. That was pretty cool, man. I'm glad the camera caught it. But yeah, half that nub flew off. And that's pretty much enough for me to just call it quits. And yeah, I didn't feel like messing with it. So I just take it out and I break the nubs off. And, you know, cut that little base off. And then I'll just finish sanding those two little nubs off. And that'll pretty much call this tree good. I didn't sand it. I didn't want to sand it. I just left a tool finish on it. And, you know, I'm not going to sit there and sand all those grooves. You crazy? Not all those beads, man. That's way too much little fine, intricate sanding. I'm going to let it dry a day or so. Maybe put some linseed oil on it while it's drying. And who knows, maybe some tung oil. Maybe that'll slow the cracking down. We'll see. Thanks for checking it out. You know, it's a fun little project. Y'all can do these. I might try and get some more, maybe a more expanded version out. I did one where I took like the bowl gouge, and I just kind of gouged out regular burrows where it would look like on a standard looking Christmas tree. I did another one where it was just the shape of a Christmas tree, and it didn't have, not maybe the shape, but it was kind of like an artistic looking, you know, it was like just a cone with no grooves or anything in it. Yeah, you know, just have fun with it. Just practice your different tools, your skew, your spindle gouge, whatever. All right, friends, thanks for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it at all, give me a like, a subscribe, you know, give me some comments. Let me know what you think. Give me your feedback, how you like to do your Christmas tree.